Hello all, welcome back to the lecture series in Python. And in today's video, we'll be talking about for loops in Python. So basically, why do we need a for loop is when we want to repeat a certain task again and again, and we want to repeat it certain number of times. So basically, in such situations, we can make use of loops. So if you see, I have instantiated two variables, number and string. Number is basically a list containing these elements, and a string variable contains a string which says Python, and I will execute this. Now the first thing what I really want to do is I want to iterate over all the elements inside the list, and I want to print each and every element of the list line by line in separate lines. So how can I do that with the for loop? Is as simple as writing for num in number print print num. And if you see, we have all the elements of the list line by line. And let's say you don't want the elements of the list line by line, you want all the elements in a single line separated by a space, or let's say separated by a colon. So we can make use of the end parameter, which is accepted by the print function. The end parameter is basically tells how do you want to end your print statement in a single line. So by default, the end parameter holds the value as \n, which is nothing but a new line. Now let's say you want your elements to be in a single line and you want them to be separated by a space. So you just have to write end equals to a empty string. And if you execute this, you can see all the elements inside the list are in a single line and they're separated by a space. And let's say, as I mentioned, you want the list to be separated by a colon. So you just have to write like end equals to string colon, and then all the elements will be separated by a colon. Now, uh, there are few things that you needs to be need to know about for loops. So basically, this num variable is a dummy variable, and why we are calling it dummy variable, because you can keep the name of this variable whatever you wish, because it doesn't make any difference. So let's say instead of num, I say I, and here also I do I, because you have to print that variable only which you are using as an iterator. So basically, the variable you are using to iterate over a particular list data type. And if you see, the result is same. So this variable is a dummy variable. So what is exactly going on here? This for loop line is telling this dummy variable to go into this list and pick a value, go inside the body of the loop, and then print that value. Then move back to the first line, then go back into the list, pick another value, and then go back inside the list, sorry, inside the body and print that next value. And this will continue till this particular variable reaches the last value of the list, that is 7. And that's how the for loop is iterating over the list. Now let's say I want to keep the result somehow same, but I just want the look to be different. So basically, I want letters instead of numbers. So I will make use of this particular variable, which is string. I want all the letters for letter in. As I mentioned, you can use any name you want because it is a dummy variable. For letter in string, print letter, and I want all the letters to be separated by a pound sign. And if you see, all the letters are a single line and they are separated by a pound sign. So basically, that is how you can use for loops in Python in a very easy syntax. So now let's talk about another function which you will be encountering with when you will be using for loops. So which is a range function. So let's say you want to print out numbers from 1 to 10, but you don't have to create list for that value. You can use the range function. So how we can use the range function? For number in range. So basically this range function has three values. One is the starting value, one is the stopping value, and one is the stepping value. Starting value tells the range function from where it should start. Stopping value, as the name suggests, at which it should stop. And stepping value, how you will go from start to step. So basically, by default, the step value is 1, the starting value is 0. So let's say I want to print from, if let me just give you a very basic example. So if I say for number in range 10, print number. If you see, the loop has printed 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9. It has not printed 10. So basically this 10 corresponds to the stopping position. We have not mentioned the starting position, we have not mentioned the stepping position. If you pass a single number inside the range function, it will considered as the stopping position, and the stopping number is exclusive. That simply means if the range function says range 100, it will go from 0 to 99. It won't include 100 as the element. Let's say you want to include 100, or let's say you want to include 10, so you will go till 11, because 11 won't be included. So now you see we have 0 to 10. Now you can pass the two parameters. If I pass two parameters, let's say 1 comma 11, so it will start from 1 and it will go till 10, because 11 won't be accepted. And if you see now 0 is not there, 1 2 3 4 5 until 10. And now let's say you want to print out the table of 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6. So here also you can do this without any calculation. So how we can do that? So we need basically 20 numbers from 1 to 21. So I need numbers from 1 to 20 and 21, because 21 will not be included. So we will have 20. And now I just want to print all the values in the increment of 2. And I want to start with 2 only. And I want all the elements to be printed with the increment of 2. So the stepping value will be 2. So if you see, we have mentioned all the three values over here: starting value, stopping value, and stepping value. And if you print, you have the table of 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. That's how you can use the range function. Now, how we can use the range function instead of in data types like list or string. So let's say I want this output, this same output, but with the help of range function. So how we can do that? For num in range. So basically, if you see, if I pass an integer, so it will give me the index. So if you pass the length of the list, it will give you out the indexes of that particular list. So okay, so it is saying object of type has no length, integer. Okay, so let me just execute that again. Now you see the number is basically a list, and if you were wondering why we got that error, because I have created this variable number, and this number stores a value at the end of the loop 20. So we cannot iterate over a single number. That's why I have to re-execute this particular cell, so that the number value will so that the number variable will store a list. Now, if you see, I have used the length of the list, and it will give me the indexes of the list, that is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 6, and that simply means it has 7 elements. Now I want to print out the elements of the list. So how do I do that? In order to print out the elements of the list with the help of range function, so basically we will make use of slicing. If you want to know more about slicing in a very detailed way, I have a detailed video regarding that as well, and you can find the list in the description below. So here, you first write the name of the variable which you want to slice. In this case, the list number, and then you use a square bracket, and then you pass the index. So here, index is num, and if you execute this, you will have the same output as running this. And if you want the same output, simple end equals to colon, and you will have the same output. So basically you can use any of the syntax you want, either this with the range function. No, sorry. Yeah, my bad. So where was I? So you can use this function this syntax, or you can use this syntax. Both will work the same, but just make sure that if you're using the range function, you have to make use of slicing in order to take out elements from the particular data type. Similarly, if you want to take out the elements from string letter by letter, you just have to do the same with the list. Just change the variable names. Let me just change as let number in string, and here string and let, and see we have the same output, all the letters separated by a colon. So that's how you can use range function with, and you can use for loops with or without range function. Now let's talk about nested loops. So basically loop inside a loop. So for that, let me just create two lists, 1 2 3, b equals to a and b and c. So what I really want to do is I want to print out all the combinations of A and B. What do we mean by combinations of A and B? So the combinations will be 1 comma A, 2 comma B, 3 comma C. And then it will be 2 comma A, 2 comma B, 3 2 comma C. And then it will be 3 comma A, 3 comma B, and 3 comma C. So basically each integer will get paired with each string, and vice versa. So how can I do that? We will make use of nested loops. So basically loop inside loop. First, I will iterate over the integer list for I in A, and then this inside this loop, I will use another loop to iterate over this particular integer, string list, that is B for J, and you will have to use different variable because you are actually using a different loop. For J in B, print I comma j. And if you see, we have all the combinations. So how this is working? So first value in ai will go 1, and the j value will be a. So it won't go back to the first for loop statement until and unless the inner for loop is not finished. So when will the inner for loop will finished? So first it will print out 1 comma a, then j will go to b, then 1 comma b, then j will go to c, 1 comma c. After reaching to c, this nested loop, basically inside loop, will get finished, and then the value of I will change. So until and unless the inside loop is not finished, the loop won't go to the outer, the variable won't change in the outer loop. And that's how you can use nested loops in Python. So basically loop inside a loop. Now let's talk about one more thing. Basically, let's say you want to create a list of elements, and I want to create a list of all even numbers between 1 to 100. So let's say I create a list even equals to 100, and then I will use range function for num in range 0 to 101, because I want 100 is an even number. And what I will do, num dot append, and since I want even numbers, so I need a step of 2. I need a step of 2. Num dot append, sorry, it won't be num. The list name is even dot append num. And if I execute this, and then if I print even, you see I have all the even numbers between 0 and 100, but it has a 3-line statement. What if I tell you you can do this in one single line with the help of range function and with a one unique operator called the splash operator? So let me just tell you how you can do that. Even underscore 1 is equals to, you want to create a list, so you use a square bracket. Now we will make use of range function as we did over here. So range 0, 101, and 2. And just before the range function, you use this splash operator. So this splash operator will unpack all the values inside the range function, just like the loop does. In case you are wondering what does the range function contains, the range function will actually give out a range object. If you see, this is a range object. This does not contain anything. You have to iterate over this particular range object, and that's how we will get the elements. So there are two things. So there are two ways to do that. Either you can use the for loop, or you can use this splash operator, which is the asterisk. So just place it before the range function and execute this. And if you see, even underscore one, you have all the values same as this one. So either you can use 3 line or you can do it in 1 line. So that's the fun learning with Python, because there are a lot of things you can do in one single line. But make sure you understand the work of splash operator. I will suggest you to have a good grip in for loops and then move to 1 line statement, so that you don't lose the readability, and also you don't lose the concept inside your mind. I hope you were able to understand how you can use for loops in Python. Now, let's talk about two more keywords, that is break and continue keyword, which are really important in terms of loops. Let me just execute it. Now, let's say you want to break your loop, you want to shut down your loop, or you want to finish your loop whenever you pass, or when you are actually meeting a particular condition. So we have this list even. So let's say I want to print out all the elements till 50, till 50. So how do I do that? For I in even underscore one, if I double equal to 50, break, else print I. So what I'm doing over here, I'm iterating over this list element by element. I'm checking if the element is equals to 50. If not, if the element is not 50, then I'm printing it. So if you print it, if you execute this, then you can see I have 0 till 48. But the list has elements till 100, but we only printed till 48 because what we use the break keyword. So the break keyword is used to break out of the loop. So the moment this condition satisfies and we go inside the body of if, it will see it has a break statement, and then and there only the loop will terminate. So that's how the break function, that's how the break keyword works. Now let's say you want to skip a condition. So you know that there is a condition and you want to skip it. Skip means that you want to skip and move ahead. So let's say I want to print all the elements and I don't want to just print 50. So instead of break, you can use continue. So now it will print all the values except 50. And if you execute this, as you can see, we have all the elements till 100, except we do not have 50. After 48, we have 52. So basically, the continue keyword tells Python if this, so basically continue keyword tells Python if the condition is satisfied, you have to skip it and move ahead. So here, if I is double equals to 50, if the element is double equals to 50, we do not print it, and continue means it will move back to this particular loop statement. That is the first loop statement. That's how break and continue works. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to understand the concept behind loops, and you were able to understand the splash operator, break and continue keyword. Please like this video and share it with your friends. That way it will reach out to more and more people. And thank you, and I will see you in the next video.